Shalom, everyone, and welcome back to Hanukkah Hotties with JQT Vancouver and Tribe 12. My name is Carmel Tanaka, and I'm the founder and executive director of JQT Vancouver, a Jewish queer and trans nonprofit dedicated to queering Jewish space and Jewifying queer space in Vancouver, BC, on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. Haichka. For Hanukkah this year, we have the honor of partnering with Tribe 12, a Jewish nonprofit whose LGBTQIA+ programming is for anyone who wants to explore the intersectionality of Jewish and queer identities in Philadelphia, whose lands are cared for by the Lenape people, specifically of the Turtle Clan. If you do not know the land on which you live, work, and play, check out native-land.ca. For each day of the holiday, we have a Hanukkah Hottie joining us to light their Hanukkah or perhaps share another tradition and chit chat about the wonderful things they do in life for the duration of the Hanukkah candles burning. Now, for today, for candle 6 is my friend and the one and only, as well as JQT's board of director, Angelica Poversky. They are a queer, non-binary poet, clown, and a genre gender fluid artist. Angelica spread their spoken word sorcery on international stages with rabbis, clowns, politicians, the United Nations, TEDx, and Shane Koyzcan. Angelica has been known to summon ghosts back to life as they unearth truths about diaspora, lineage, sexuality, consent, gender, and forgiveness. You can learn more about Angelica at angelicapoversky.ca. The links are in the chat, as well as their social media handles. Joining us live from 30 minutes down the road from me in Vancouver, let's bring on Angelica. Hello.
Hi. Hi, Carmel. Hi, everybody.
Hey. Oh, I'm so happy to have you here and back in Vancouver. Definitely missed you. How about we start with having you lead us in lighting the candles?
I would love that, Carmel. I really would. But unfortunately, I am in a quarantine dream where I've been lighting one candle every night, which is now stuck to my bathtub. And so unfortunately, I don't have unless if, to take everybody to my bathtub, I felt like was maybe too intimate, even though we're going to get into some really juicy, intimate poems and discussions today. I was like, maybe that's too much. So I'll let you take away the lighting, but I would love to share some blessings with folks.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I will light it and then you will share with us some lovely things. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to do it this way. Here we go. My Hanukkah is getting so much action these days. There we go. I can't believe it's already the 6th night. How did that happen?
Beautiful. Okay. That looks so good.
All lit.
Yes. Okay. So I, have been coming up with my own blessings for a while, ever since I got super inspired by that beautiful video that was put together by amazing Jewish queers. So these are a few blessings that I've been writing and feeling inspired by. So blessed are you, divine fashion designer, sunbeaming grace. Blessed are you, divine rainbow reverberating, all sound and all light. Blessed are you, Holy One, for your full spectrum, created an everlasting color, picked by beautiful and all-encompassing sacred light. So these are my little blessings that I've been saying to myself, sharing with the universe, with God, with all the spirits around me. And yeah, I've been really just interested in how do I queerify my spirituality, and my Jewishness on a really personal level. And that's been such a lovely way to kind of have these little mantras for myself. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Are you referring to the amazing video that Dory Midnight put together?
Yes, I am. I am. Oh my God.
So amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I think they just put out something else also for Hanukkah, the story of Judith. So you should definitely check that out.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes,
Yeah.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that video just like bursted open my life. I was like, oh my God, all of these beautiful Jewish, queer, trans people just like having the most beautiful way of just engaging with each other. And
right?
yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so dope.
Well, I think it's a miracle that we've been introduced. And so I have someone who shares a very similar name to you to thank, Angelica, for introducing us. So shout out to Angelica. It's been so great having you as part of the JQT Dream Team, as well as being one of our interim board of directors to help JQT become the nonprofit it is today. And so I just wanted to give you a big thank you and a shout out.
Dude, thank you, Carmel. No, but it's all you, honestly. And oh, honestly though, yeah, like I feel like this whole experience of being part of JQT for the past, since COVID started, since just before COVID started, has been just so amazing and has really helped me like find a home in Jewishness that I feel a lot closer to now. And yeah, the work that we've been able to do together is just so amazing and so heartwarming, and just watching the other Hanukkah Hotties. And can I say I am fucking honored? Am I allowed to swear?
Go for it.
I am honored. I am wholeheartedly honored to be a Hanukkah Hottie, because I feel like that's going to be in my latest bio. It's like Angelica Poversky, Angelica, genre fluid, gender fluid, Hanukkah Hottie. Like that. Absolutely.
Well, I have to give you credit. You're the reason why Hanukkah Hottie is Hanukkah Hottie.
You know what? I totally forgot. That was no wonder I love the idea so much.
Of course. Listen, you're the poet. I remember Dominica and I were like, we need a really good title for this partnership, for this series event, right?
Yeah,
and we were coming up with different things, and I sent it to you, and I know who's going to help us, and it's Angelica. And Angelica was like, Hanukkah Hottie.
Oh my God, that's so funny, because I actually completely forgot about that. I was like, this was your title. Like, that's so, because I love that I'm just flattering myself in retrospect. Like, whoever came up with that title was a genius. Like, I love that.
Oh, so good. So good. Well, you're here today because of your amazing ability to put more than one word together. So I thought before we get into some of your poems, which you have prepared, tell us, how did you get into poetry? What drew you to it?
Yeah, I feel like I love that question. I feel like I've been answering that question a lot the past couple of weeks, because I've been working with Art Starts, and I've been working with this other group called Poetry and Voice, and they're all about bringing poetry to kids. And so they're always asking me like, okay, so let's find that little nugget of inspiration that we can give to the children. And I'm like, okay, let's think about it. And I actually remember I started writing poetry because of the Arthur theme song. I stole from the Arthur theme song. That was my first poem. I just completely plagiarized the whole.
Which Arthur theme? Like Arthur the bear?
Like the aardvark.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome.
Arthur the aardvark. Like I totally just stole all of it. Like I slightly rewrote it, but I was just like, oh my God, this is the best song ever. These rhymes are amazing. And my little, 5-year-old powerful and devious self was like, oh, nobody's gonna know. And then everybody loved my poem, which was,
of course,
which was like 80% Arthur's theme song. And then after that, I was like, okay, people like it when I do this thing. So then it just kind of snowballed from there. And yeah, I remember later when I was in grade 1, I wrote a poem where I rhymed balloons and blue as like a very solid end rhyme. And I remember one of my friends was like, wait, that actually made sense. Like when you spoke, it actually like worked. And I was like, oh my God, I can actually make sense and rhyme together. Yeah, so now just fast forward to now, it's been more, it's been more of that, me just putting together little rhymes, stealing from artists, but stealing from so many artists, nobody even knows who I stole from anymore. But that's actually what I have with me a little bit today too, is I have all of the beautiful artists that inspire me, and I'm going to share a little bit of work from them, but you know, I steal from all these people all the time. I steal it all collectively that they don't even know.
I mean, it's not stealing, it's getting inspired.
Yes, it's inspiration. It's all inspiration. And I've just been blessed to have all these beautiful authors always surrounding me, and I'm thinking about what they're writing. And yeah, definitely right now, a lot of my work is very much about being Jewish, about being queer, about being trans. And just so much about that is you know, me, obviously, but then as I go into that, there's like this deeper level of me wanting to, you know, engage and bring up my ancestors from the past and like have these conversations with, you know, older writers that you know, are long gone, but like bring up their work and like think about what they were saying and like what was it like to be, you know, Russian and Jewish and queer in the 1800s, and like
Right.
Doing all that.
I don't know what that's been like, but you have a poem that describes a little bit about what that's like.
I do. I actually a little bit I do. But it's been really interesting because so there's this one poet, Sofia Parnok, who is a Russian queer Jewish woman from the 1800s, and like that is hard to find. I don't know who's
How did you find this?
I've ever tried. I just Googled Russian queer Jewish 1800. That was it. And I did find a person. And also on the list of like queer Russian Jewish poets on Wikipedia, there was one woman. There are no trans people, but I felt like a woman felt closer to me than a gay man. So I was like, okay, this person, I need to go in. And so I've been obsessively going into her work and just like translating and just trying to find just the nuggets of like, what was it like to be you, to have all these identities that, you know, nobody really understood. Like being Jewish in Russia was a difficult thing at that time, still is, but at that time being queer in Russia was like, that was a thing that basically nobody even documented. And so a lot of people, kind of like Sappho, a lot of people took her poems and were like, okay, she's, you know, she's not actually these things. Like she's Christian, or she's straight, or she's this, or but it's like, no, if you read the poems, she's gay as fuck. It's all in there. She's like talking about women. She knows what she wants. Yeah, she has this one line where she's like, I'm tired of people looking at churches I'm tired of people looking at churches where the architect is more present than God. And I was like, damn, that is a line. That is still a line. That's a bar.
That can be used today as a line for
sure. Yes, wow. For sure. Yeah.
Call it the way it is. So you're translating this from Russian to English?
Yes, exactly.
Has anyone done that before?
Yeah, some people have. And so I'm actually translating some poems that other people have translated, which I feel like I could translate better. That's been my latest thing.
Love it.
I'm like, there's more here. Like, there's more that I want to talk about and engage with, because I feel like there's a lot that she was hiding. You know, like there was a lot that she was like, this is what I'm saying, because I can't quite say how bad, you know, I want this person, or how bad I want to be free, or how much I like want to leave my family, or how controlling all these men are. Like, there's all of that in there, but it's not like, it's so like, I have to dig out all the things to find it. So sometimes I feel like the translations, when it's translated back into English, the translators aren't necessarily like trying to weave that out. And I'm like, no, there's like an archive, there's a wealth of just power and like passion in here that I would love to get into and find and reveal. So yeah, that's been really fun. That's been
it sounds juicy. I love it.
Yeah.
So would you like to share one of those poems with us today?
Yes, let me do that. I was actually kind of not thinking I would actually share from her today, because I just was like in my own process of thinking of some other people today, but I would love actually to share from her. Or for me, let's see. Let me just take a little second.
Exciting. Well, while you're searching, there's also a special someone I want to give a shout out to today, and that is my own papa, Mr. Tanaka, whose birthday is today, and he's turning 75, which is a big number. And I just wanted to give a shout out and say that I really enjoyed your line when you said being gay is a-okay. That was such a dad line.
Okay, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Also my dad.
Yeah.
Just spiritually, emotionally, I feel connected. I've never met him, but just that one line, that was enough for me.
Well, we haven't even met, Angelica. We've never met in person.
Okay, we haven't met in person, but we've met so intensely outside of in person that I feel like, wait, you still haven't told me how tall you are.
I did. I told you. I'm 5'7".
Oh, okay.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
Okay, I mean, like, I wasn't expecting someone like 6 feet or anything, but that's gonna be really cool. I can't wait I think we're meeting on Monday.
Yes. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh my God, we're gonna meet in real life. We should
document it.
Insta live. Like, that's like,
it's monumental.
That's a monumental historical.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
So that's super cool. Okay, I pulled up the poems. I'm ready.
Sweet. All right, I'm now gonna fade to you, so the camera's attention will be on you. Here we go.
All eyes on me, everybody. Hello and welcome. So I'm gonna be reading this one poem that I've been translating for a really long time. And I'm gonna read the Google Translate, the translation by somebody else, and then I'm gonna read my translation of the poem. So let us begin with the Google Translate version of this poem. I yearn as animals. Oh, it's also, I mean, the title is contested, but it's called something like I Yearn by Sophia Pernok. So this is the Google Translate from Russian to English. I yearn as animals yearn. Every vertebrae yearns, and my heart is like a bell at the door, and someone pulled the bell. Trembling, empty rattler, ring the alarm, rattle, time to landfill, and it's not a pity to give up this life during life. Farewell to you, gray-haired muse, fire of my farewell days. You were music of music to my tortured soul. I'm not leaning towards the headboard. I don't catch your sighs, and it's scary to say neither love nor hate. So looking at this Google Translate version, I was like, okay, the context of this poem is totally wiped away, but I can agree that strictly speaking, the Russian to English translation, those are the words that are in the poem. And so this is the translation that Rani Oaked did. And this is the only translation that exists of this poem outside of mine. So this is their translation. I'm yearning the way animals yearn, with each yearning bone in my back, and my heart is like a door's bell that someone keeps ringing. Quiver, empty bell, ring your alarm, trembling. It's time to head to the dump. And I'm not sorry to end our shared life before it ends me. So long, my graying muse, the fire of my departed days, to my exhausted heart. You were once the music of musics. I no longer bow at your bed. I no longer listen for your sighs. It's terrible. But I no longer love you, not even with the passion of hate. So that one is a little more spicy. We get that little last line. I don't even love you, not even with a passion of hate. Like, I don't even hate to love you. I don't even love to hate you. Like, Sophia's over this person that she, you know, had feelings for. She doesn't like her anymore. Like, she's moving on. But the intensity, I felt like, is still not really there. So this is then the poem that I translated again. And let's get into it. So this is my translation by Angelica Poversky to Sophia Pernok. I yearn how creatures yearn. I beg like a beast, each hungry bone bellying. My chest pleads like a doorbell rung, tugged and yanked by someone. Trembling an empty bell, playing alarms in my chest. Time to get dumped. I do not mourn, throwing out our life for my own. I forgive and let you go, my silver muse, my fire of my old future, my music of my music, my symphonies dying in me. I won't kneel at your headboard or stay empty-handed catching your sighs. It hurts me to utter, but I love you no longer. I don't even yearn to hate you. So that is my translation of that poem. And some things I want to just flag that were really fun in the translation was just the word alarm. Was really interesting because alarm is both a sound that is, you know, and there's an alarming sound. It's an alarming sound. It's a bell. It's something that wakes you up. But alarm is also anxiety. So that was an interesting word to see how that word is similar in Russian and in English. And like some other stuff that was really interesting too is this idea of, you know, yearning. Like the word for yearning is something that I was really interested in exploring because she kept being like, I yearn for you like a creature. And in Russian it says, I yearn for you like a zver. Zver is like a beast to me. It's not like an animal. So it was interesting that like the translator was like, okay, so I'm going to use the word animal or I'm going to use the word creature. And I was like, I'm going to use the word beast because that feels more like, you know, we're getting it on. Like, I yearn for you like a beast, baby. You know, I was like, that's where that is. So there's a lot of fun moments like that in this poem. I could talk about it for forever, but this whole process has just been super fun where it's just like, okay.
I mean, it's incredible. I feel like there's no comparison between your version and the others, and Google Translate, it did its best, but it can only do so well. It's very impressive. I think you're breathing life into someone's work that I'm sure is, if they are looking at all down right now, I'm sure is really appreciating the modern spin, but also just being able to express it in words today that we're able to use, which is
totally
incredible.
I hope so. You know what, I've actually been having like nightmare dreams about Sophia Pernok because I feel like she's like, oh my God, you're like, you know, I don't know. I've been thinking that she would get really angry about what I'm doing because she's like, how, you know, like, how could you reveal myself? Or like, I guess also it's kind of an imposition because I'm assuming these things of her, right? I'm like, this is what you meant to say, and that is my interpretation of it, and I feel like it's the truth. Like, I feel like I'm digging into the truth and augmenting what she wanted to say, but it's funny because I'm just like, I think about what she would how she would react, you know.
Well, you should talk to Stuart, who is our second Hanukkah Hottie. He's really into dreamings, and he might be able to unlock that dream for you.
Oh my God, I would love that. I will have to hit him up.
It's pretty cool. Oh, all right. You've got other poems lined up for us. What else would you like to share?
Yes. Okay, so I can either read a little bit from Adam Ellie's The New Queer Conscience. Really cool book. Adam Ellie is a gay, Jewish, queer, living in New York. This is a really amazing book that just talks about the intersections of Judaism, Jewishness, and queerness, and also just uses a really interesting approach of just thinking about how do we apply the way that we are, you know, in this kinship with each other as Jewish people to how we are in kinship with each other as queer people, which is like, So cool. So maybe I'll just read a little, maybe I'm not giving you a choice. I'm going to read a little bit of this.
Totally fine with that. Here, let me focus back on you so you can share this lovely work.
Amazing. So yeah, I'm going to read a little bit from the prologue, which, you know, I'm going to just do a trigger warning for mentions of homophobia and mentions of anti-Semitic violence. So take care of yourself how you need. And then I will shift to a little part later in the book that I really like. On October 27, 2018, a gunman burst into the Pittsburgh synagogue and killed 11 people. Within hours, the global Jewish community mobilized into action. Jews across the world raised money to cover funeral costs. Rallies and memorials were held in every major city. The global Jewish community expressed public sympathy and outrage, while volunteers flocked to Pittsburgh to serve the community hot meals and attend the funerals. The message was clear: an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. In general, the global queer community does not respond like this in times of crisis. On January 14th, 2019, just 2 months and a half after the synagogue shooting, news broke that a new wave of queer purges were taking place in a Russian republic. 40 queers were detained and 2 were killed, but there was no effective global call to action. Between October 27th and January 14th, at least 3 Black trans women were murdered in the United States. As usual, the epidemic of violence against Black trans women did not prompt any kind of unified or helpful communal outrage. As a queer Jew, I watched these attacks on my 2 communities unfold parallel to each other. Distraught, I thought of a quote from the Talmud, a piece of ancient Jewish scripture that says, "All Jewish people are responsible for one another." I love that. All Jewish people are responsible for one another. We don't always get it right, but the importance of showing up for other Jews has been carved into the DNA of what it means to be Jewish. It is my dream that queer people develop the same ideology, what I like to call a global queer conscience. The global queer conscience is an attitude that repositions how we see ourselves as queer people and how we fit into the world. I cannot and will not speak for the community at large. No one person can, but I believe that this dream will become reality if we come to the simple understanding that queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere. And I'll read a little tiny chunk later on in the book. Queers, like Jews and many, many others, have a culture with ancient roots. Like all communities, we have ancestors, traditions, and a history of our own. In every single culture throughout history, there is evidence of people experiencing same-sex love, being born intersex, and expressing non-binary genders and other aspects of queerness. Queerness is a human trait like no other, ever-present, inerasable, and entirely invincible. If you wiped out every single queer person, more people would just be born queer tomorrow. So I love that little section. I think it really just offers like a cool and new way of seeing Jewishness, of seeing queerness. I feel that there is a interesting call that he's making, you know, that's there about like, okay, what does it mean for all of us to stand together and be responsible for each other as queer people, as Jewish people? What does it mean to have that, as he so beautifully described, you know, this way of taking care of each other as Jewish people that is in our DNA? You know, that lives in us as queer people too. And yeah, I think it's a really beautiful book that just really reimagines like what is kinship for queers, for Jewish people, and like how does that exist together? Like how can we hold each other more, and how do we really commit to knowing that we are invincible, that we are so powerful, that we are capable of you know, holding each other up and bolstering up this community forward together. Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful message, and I'm so happy that you wanted to share that. You also said that you wanted to share something at the end of the book too.
Oh,
right?
I probably did. That's so funny. Let's see what I was gonna say.
I mean, the whole book, I'm sure, is incredible. We should all be getting a copy.
Yeah, I feel like here, let me read this last section here. It's actually really nice. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, okay, so we as a community have been born into a world that has not been designed for us. We know that hate does not discriminate. It has shockingly low standards for its choice of subject. Hatred is a disease, and if untreated, it becomes contagious. Those who hate one queer hate them all. Those who stand up for one queer must stand up for us all. The queer people, just like the Jewish people, are a diaspora, scattered in every corner of the earth. Today, we have members of the queer family living in every single corner, community, and country in the world, all fighting for the same cause. Only now, we have the means to communicate with one another, and members with actual privilege and leverage to lift us all. Our generation has the liberties and tools no generation of queer has ever had before. We have the opportunity to unite and create a new queer conscience. Queer people anywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere. Queer people anywhere must fight for queer people everywhere. After all, wouldn't you want somebody to fight for you? Yeah, I just love that last line. Wouldn't you want somebody to fight for you? It's like, yes, Adam, Ellie, I would. And we all deserve, people to fight for us and love us and see us for who we are. And like, that's what I really appreciated about the talk yesterday, the Hanukkah Hottie yesterday.
Arya Marvasi from LA. Yeah.
Yes. Arya was just saying like, hey, you know what? Like, I want to show up to my wedding in like drag or heels, and like, let's stop people from telling us that we need to be like queer in a certain way, or to show up in a certain way, or be Jewish in a certain way, or whatever, like have a smaller or diminished version of ourselves show up into the space, because we deserve to be big, and we deserve to be loud, and we deserve for people to fight for us and to hold our backs and to hold us together. And that's what I love about JQT. It's like, we're just holding each other how we can, and that's so beautiful. And I see like all the support too from folks coming in more and more, and that's so nice. And obviously like, the funds that have slowly been coming to us, it's just
finally
so yeah, it's just nice. It's like, okay, here we are, we're building this new conscience
together,
yeah,
building community. Now, for those who don't know, Angelica was extremely instrumental in organizing JQT's Jewish Queer Trans Heritage Month back in May. It was one of our first programs during COVID, when everyone was pivoting, trying to figure out how to do anything in life. And it was an incredible, I feel, unprecedented celebration in Jewish community for a month that normally doesn't get much attention from the queer Jewish community. So we had queer drag performers, poets, and musicians, and a lot of them were through connections through you. And you should definitely check out Angelica's, I think you spoke for 30 minutes or something like that. It's incredible with your own work. But before you go today, I'm wondering if you'd like to share something of your own work.
Yes, obviously, all the time. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna pull up something. But yeah, I've been writing so much. It's like, it's just been flooding out of me. And you know what, just actually maybe to tie up today, I think that this would actually be kind of funny, or kind of cute, or kind of, but I was writing this poem to myself from Sophia Parnok, actually. And
You're legit having a conversation with this person.
Yeah, I'm just talking. I'm just like staying up at night, like, Sophia, what are you thinking of? Yeah, this is a poem that I wrote for me from her, as I tried to, you know, chat with my queer Jewish Russian ancestors in the sky and in the earth. So here it is. Dear Angelica, stay reckless, curse the vile, grab your belt, a handful of beads or a colored shoe, and repent and repent and repent. Because nothing has led you to believe we are not already living in the seventh heaven. Why are you searching for yourself in someone else's self-glorifying spirit? Человечный дух, a rash in the shower, a mirror that keeps eating itself raw. Wake up. Writing letters instead of looking at what's haunting the night in the face. Dear Angelica, what will happen to you if you break open it all? If you wet yourself out? I love you like I want you kicked out to the back streets where the Jew queer kids live, hungry and happy. Have you been left out of your own philosophy, made to question what you know is righteous, looking at churches where the builder is more present than God, getting stuck in man-made churches, other people preaching to a dark sunset, begging to tell you where to go? The synagogue left me in a queer yellow-red with a revered San Marco, a slender cross and the touch of a sunburn, imperiling sky, hungry, hungry, and hungry. I'm asking to be looked at without forgiveness, but with love. Sophia. Yeah, that is my poem.
That's the first time I've heard that one. And now with all the backstory and also having heard the poem from earlier, I feel you've just taken us through a journey here.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you for being here for this beautiful journey with me. And I'm not gonna share anything from it, I don't think, but I do just wanna really quickly give a shout out to this book, Queer Magic. There's a whole chapter on Judaism as queer magic. It's so beautiful. Check out this book, everybody. It's like, if you're Jewish and queer and looking for a little bit of magic in your life and you don't really know where to look to, check this out. It's really cool.
And who's it by?
Oh yes, it is by Thomas Prower. You just can see that name possibly reversed, but Thomas Prower. And yeah, super cool. But yeah, there's so many amazing Jewish, queer, trans poets in the world. You just have to go and find them and, you know, collect them and put them into your little notebook and keep them safe and warm and, you know, read them when you need and send them a little thank you. And yeah, they're all there for you.
I'm so happy to know one. Before we end, I like to ask this concluding question for people, for our guests. How do you celebrate being Jewish and queer?
Ooh, I actually just love this question so much. Like, thank you for asking this. It's just such a good question. I want to ask you too, actually, but I'll answer first because okay, so I feel like every day I celebrate how I can. Some days that's just waking up, you know, and that's my celebration of the day. But sometimes even more, it's like, I love just organizing. I love creating community. I love using art as a tool to celebrate both queerness and transness and Jewishness. And, you know, for me as an organizer and as an artist, I feel like creating space for myself to be all of me invites that to happen for other people. And that is the most beautiful celebration, because I think that for all of me to exist in a space, I need to be in a space of celebration. I need to be in a space of joy and support. And for me to show up and have that for all of myself and all of my lives, you know, because we have so many lives and so many so many people in us and so many experiences. That is a challenge. That's like an ongoing process, but it's a beautiful thing when I'm able to create little nuggets of space for myself and for others. And yeah, so definitely, you know, being a part of JQT is how I celebrate being Jewish and queer. You know, and having a time like this to chat, and yeah, and all the work that I hope to continue doing every day. That is my mission. that is my mission, to celebrate this for myself and for others.
So good. So good. Do you want me to answer this question? Because
Yes,
I'm not used to being asked any questions during this time.
I do. I want to hear. You are the original Hanukkah Hottie, so I.
Oh no! What are you talking about? Oh. Well, probably, and I don't mean this to be a cop-out answer by any means, but you know, creating JQT, creating this safe space to be able to celebrate our Jewish and queer identities however we want to. And I feel like this platform that I've created, and through amazing partnerships and through amazing people along the way who've been amazing supporters, allows us to celebrate it authentically. And I think to be able to have artists like you, have musicians, to have thinkers, to have other working Jewish queer professionals, to be able to celebrate all the different diverse ways in which we can be Jewish and queer is how I'm celebrating. And for me, it's also my own personal journey. I'm figuring out how to bring all of my identities together. And there's more than just Jewish and queer. There's, you know, Jew of color. You know, there's just so much to juggle. And yeah, bringing the traditions together, I think for me, is how I'm celebrating it most. And I get a lot of happiness from being able to see other people like you being able to celebrate. It helps me sleep at night.
That's so sweet. But I feel that's so real. That's so real. Seeing other people actually just be themselves and in their power and like celebrating who they are, like that's such a beautiful and special thing. Yeah.
And I don't feel like JQT needs to be the one place and all place for this. You know, the fact that a few years ago there were very few options, if any, to really come together as Jewish queer people in Vancouver. And then since then, there's now more options. I think having options, I've already done my job. And I'm very happy with that, and being able to meet people who are doing very similar work in other parts of the world, and being able to collaborate and to share our resources. I mean, #winning.
Yes, honestly. And it's like the more that people do this work, the more we can do the work, the more everybody is, you know, in community.
There's so much work that needs to still be done.
I know. It's true, but it's getting there and it's moving. And that's a beautiful thing about it. Just how we all move together and we, you know, build the foundation together and we have the vision, and it's just like, it's so cool. Like even just, you know, the Nesh magazine that just popped up, this magazine, you know, based in Oakland? Question mark?
I think so. I think the Bay Area for sure. Yeah, super exciting. So many things are popping up, and I'm it's just nice to know. Well,
yeah, like even today I was just Googling like transgender Jewish magic, you know. I was just like, okay, what's out there? And I remember before, like a year ago, when I would Google that, there'd be like 6 results, you know. But now I was like, oh my God, I can't even find like
pages.
Yeah, there's pages. Like people are just going into it. They're like talking about the intersections of transness and Jewishness, and that's so like awesome. I'm like, no, what? I didn't know that. Like so many people, like thousands of people, are just engaging with this now.
We now need to find all of them.
Yes, we need to find all of them. Oh my God, did I tell you that there's a trans singer, a vocalist in Toronto who's like doing this amazing work where he's just like, he's like a trans man who's like singing and channeling genderqueer deities. I forgot his name. Maybe I'll come back into this and comment what his name is, but he's like doing, I'm like, who are these amazing people that are just everywhere now? They're everywhere. I mean, more Jewish queer trans visibility will do that.
Yeah,
you know, people are coming out everywhere.
We're also now all online, and
yes,
there's safety to a certain degree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at one point I got feedback from some people who said it's really great that all of the programs for JQT have gone online because of COVID, because that means I don't have to navigate going on public transportation to get to the event and worry about my physical safety to get to programming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a legit, real concern that this is now accessible to people. Of course, we miss in-person events, and hopefully one day we'll be able to have a combination of both of those moving forward. But until then, you will be able to find us online. Well, many thanks to Angelica for joining us today for Candle 6 of Hanukkah Hotties with JQT Vancouver and Tribe 12. Be sure to follow their work at angelicapoversky.ca. Thank you to our lovely partner organization, Tribe 12 in Philly. You can also follow us on social media. The links are in the chat. Up next for Candle 7 is Nate Looney, Manager of Racial Justice Initiatives at Avodah in Los Angeles. We will be going live at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that is 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast. Looking forward to having you all join us. Happy Hanukkah and Chag Hanukkah Sameach.